In 3 and 2 and going. Okay.
Hello.
Yo.
What's going on, guys? So tonight we got something going on a little bit different. We're gonna do a little bit, I want to call it like a review kind of, or breakdown of the new Bumblebee trailer. And I have a couple of Transformers fanatics over here who had to weigh in. Yeah, specifically a Bumblebee fanatic over there. So you got Mr. Let me click on the thingy. You got Mr. and Mrs. Rodimus13 there. So he's the one not wearing the mask.
All Bumblebees in the Transformers collection are mine.
Yes, they are. So you can't. We'll do a video sometime soon on their full ridiculous collection.
I don't think he can do that in one video. He has too many.
Yeah. Well, not everything, not things in tubs, but at least what's out on display.
You realize it's still like a whole season.
Mm-hmm. I'll just break it down by shelf. But either way, to avoid copyright problems, I'll probably not intercut too much of the actual footage, but I'll do what I can.
Okay.
But they're very copyright happy over there. You know what it is.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But first and foremost, you guys have seen it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm excited.
And I've voiced my opinion on the Bumblebee trailer before, or the movie rather, I should say, and how I'm just not excited about it. I'm kind of done with the Bayverse. Mm-hmm. But then this trailer is started to show us something a little bit different.
Yes, very much so.
Personalities for one.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, Bumblebee always had a personality. He was just hidden behind the fact he couldn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
So they take the mime aspect to a whole new level in this one.
Yeah. I have to say, one of the things I like is they are playing with the fact that whoever gets to the country first and appears to be more legitimate, they're the ones that they go, you don't understand. This is the villain. And it's sort of like, if the Autobots had gotten there first, they would have been able to say that about the Decepticons and seem more legitimate. But in this case, it was the Decepticons coming in force, trying to look peaceful and say, no, you need to get us Bumblebee, or he's going to bring the war to you. And it's like, yeah, that's the thing that would happen.
We need to get this war criminal known as Bumblebee.
Yeah. That's an interesting aspect, especially because, well, one problem I had with that chunk of the trailer, whenever the two Decepticons are rolling in, one, they're both they're triple changers in the movie. Both have like a flight form and a car mode, but then like they're flying in, they transform into cars, and then they transform into bots. Like, what was the point of that? Do we have to just other than to show it off?
Yeah, it could be sort of a power show thing.
I mean, they're Decepticons. They like to show off their power and what they can do, but also sort of like, we're trying to protect you from these really bad guys over here, and look how powerful we are to begin with.
Yeah.
Imagine what they would do.
But I find it funny that if by chance this is still technically in the same continuity with the regular Bayverse, the governments of the world should know a little bit about the Autobots if Bumblebee was really involved with World War I and stuff like that. But they're acting like they have no idea. They've never seen Transformers before.
Well, there was Sector 7 or 6 or whatever it was called.
Sector 7, yeah.
And actually, one thing I noticed in the movie was when they showed John Cena's character, they did a quick view of the
Hoover Dam,
which is where Sector 7 was based out of in the original movie. So there's obviously some prior knowledge to it with what did they call Megatron, Iceman or something like that?
Something, yeah, Iceman. They didn't have a name for him. Apparently, though, and I saw this earlier in a Transformers forum, maybe it was just a toy forum, there is a new Megatron figure out that may or may not be related to the movie, since we're starting to see characters that are not being released under the movie line that seem to be in the movie.
So, I haven't seen that, but I have to admit I've been leaning more towards the Gunpla stuff lately, so I haven't been paying as close attention to Transformers stuff.
Yeah. I just think that it really does seem, judging by what we see in this trailer, we'll just say it, the G1 Transformer aspect of the guys on Cybertron, it seems like they were going one direction, let's say when they released the original teaser trailer, and maybe they've done some reshoots and add-ons since then.
I could see that. I mean, it's not the first time a movie company's done that. But one thing I do want to mention is I know a lot of people are kind of like, well, wait a minute, what shouldn't the governments know? Shouldn't they know? Well, one, whatever governments do know doesn't mean they're going to share what they know with other countries. Two, my dad being in the military would probably tell you that there's probably times stuff's been classified for so dang long, very, very, very few people know about it. So if Bumblebee in World War II was considered classified, then that would continue on. A great historical version of that is Bill Nye the Science Guy. His mother was one of the big decoders and encoders for the last World War, and she was told, "You see this guy here? You ever tell anybody anything, he's going to track you down and he's going to murder you." And it's illegal. And when she walked into the Cryptologic Museum with her son that my mom was working at the time and saw the picture of her and all the other ladies, she freaked out because for a second she honestly thought somebody was going to come now that it's recognize her and actually come and kill her. I mean, people keep secrets like that for a long time with a proper threat. So anytime people go and say like, "Oh, you can't," I'm like, dude, y'all don't know how the military and the government work. Yes, it can say that secret. You just got to know what to do.
Well, that's true, because even in the original continuity, they did do that. That the Transformers were kept a secret. Yeah. However, if they were working with the American military to end World War II or one, whichever one it was, then they would have known about them already, and they would have encountered Bumblebee already. But I think it's already become apparent that this is going to be something of a reboot or a requel or something.
It almost feels like they're trying to do sort of like a soft reboot or something like that.
Yeah, some nods here and there to stuff.
Keep things sort of what's the term I've heard? Broad strokes with some of the story beats that they've established, but toss out everything else that they don't like or don't want to keep and bring in new stuff without alienating people who really do like the live action movie verse.
That reminds me, you want to know one of the most ridiculous complaints I've heard about this trailer? It's about Soundwave. Do we really need a Transformer that has cassettes? It takes place in the freaking 80s, people.
Well, okay, my biggest problem with this trailer so far happens to be the new stuff, and it is the G1 style Transformers that pop up on Cybertron in the middle of a war, because we see 6 or 7 of them, including Optimus Prime, several Seekers, Shockwave, and Soundwave, and they're all very, very G1 inspired, but their aesthetic is nothing like the rest of the Bayverse. Like, they don't even look like the rest of the Transformers on Earth.
Some people have pointed out that they look very similar to the aesthetic that's being set up in the War for Cybertron Siege
line. Yeah, we talked about that last night, actually.
That's what I was thinking about.
Well, no, I mean, not you and I. I mean, on the podcast we were talking about it. But it makes sense that they would do that. But what doesn't make sense is if the Transformers have not been to Earth, with the exception of the few Decepticons and Bumblebee, why would they have Earth forms already on Cybertron?
Do they actually have Earth forms on Cybertron already?
If you see Optimus, he's already a Mack truck of sorts.
Yeah. It's kind of
Does it have all the wheels and stuff? I'm just checking because I remember the first episode of Transformers, Bumblebee looks sort of like a future version of what a Volkswagen Bug would be, and then
he's like a spaceship, yeah.
But the robot modes were the same, which is, it feels a little bit like what they've done here. So yeah, I mean, Optimus does have like the truck chest thing going on,
but he also has smokestacks on his shoulders.
Though those look like they could potentially also be like laser cannons or something.
They're smokestacks. I think you're right though in saying that they were just going with the G1 idea that their forms don't change, except for whatever their alt mode changes, but not their bot mode.
Right.
But the aesthetic being so different is what bothers me. Like if you look at Soundwave and he basically has like a solid red visor and then like 2 red glowing eyes through it. Yeah. That doesn't even fit in with the other Transformers we see at all. Especially the ones on Earth.
Well, and we've already seen Soundwave and Optimus before, and yeah, they do look completely different.
Yeah, not even like their protoform versions.
I am hesitant to say this just because, we obviously haven't seen the movie yet or anything. But the thing I'm kind of thinking of is, with robots, you could still have effectively different ethnicities in a way like we do as people. So it could be just different as far as their faces look. It could be effectively their background, how they were built, how one group of designs versus another. But that also depends on what mythology they are using for determining why they look the way they look. For example, do they look the way they look because they literally sprung out of the ground via the comic version where Primus is their planet and they came out of his blood effectively? Or are we going with the Quintessons built them as laborers and thus built them to look however they wanted for whatever jobs they had? And that's why the Decepticons are so dang violent, is because they go around and they were the basically fighters for the Quintessons. So yeah, this is where
there's too many continuities, especially if they almost have a IDW aesthetic going on too, at least the Cybertronian forms. So maybe that will play into it, except of course Optimus doesn't have his ridiculously tall antenna ears, but you know, it's still fairly similar, especially with the way the shoulder armor comes down. It looks a lot more IDW inspired. But I don't know. I mean, I think that it wasn't meant to be a reboot at first. I think it was just meant to be a prequel.
Yeah.
And I legitimately think they went back and changed their mind after they canceled the next 2 movies.
Yeah, because I think what they're hoping for is that they can use this as a springboard for basically a new version of the movie franchise.
Basically fix the things that they didn't realize he was doing, things that would annoy fans. But at the same time, he's already brought in a bunch of other people interested in Transformers, so now there's a wider base for him to try for.
I think a reboot is fine if you allow for enough time and change things up enough.
Well, there has not been a lot of time.
What, The Last Night was not quite 2 years ago?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was
last year.
Maybe it was the beginning of last year, because I remember Nick and I did a review for it. So, I mean, it hasn't even been that long. And if they really wanted to start something new, they should have changed up, even if it's based around Bumblebee, they should have really changed him up to not basically be the Bayverse Bumblebee and then kind of just slowly fade out the rest of the Bayverse as existing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they want to get away from the Witwickies and all that stuff like that, which I don't blame them. They really screwed the pooch on those characters. And I think the new girl, Haley, I can't remember. I always want to call her Haley Atwell, but I know that's actually Agent Carter. But I think she's a fine actress, so that's not going to be a problem. And I think the interaction between her and Bumblebee, at least in the trailer so far, looks fun. You know, you've got the kind of fish out of water story.
Mm-hmm. I love the part on the couch. And
what?
I like the part where he sits on the couch in the trailer.
Oh yeah.
It's sort of like he comes and he's like, "Okay, the couch is big enough. Surely it can hold my weight." Oh, look, it didn't shoot. These people did not build things sturdy for me.
It all feels very much kind of like the first half, 3/4 of the first live action movie.
Yeah.
The part that everybody says has Spielberg's fingerprints all over it, as opposed to Bay's.
Yeah, before the lens flares come in.
Explosions and Bumblebee being inappropriate with his fluids.
Bumblebee, stop lubricating the man. But it's just, I don't know. I really don't know. I had no real intention to see this movie, and I think they sensed that from a lot of the fans that have just given up. And I think they went back and went, hold on, wait, look, we got G1 stuff in here too. That makes absolutely no sense. Including a giant holographic version of Optimus Prime coming out of Bumblebee's chest. That's a good way to send messages, through a giant holographic form that comes out of your chest.
Could they do that in the cartoon comics? I knew they could do holograms, but I can't remember if any of them could do it like out of their chest. Like,
no, I think they did. I think the only time they did holograms like that was later in Beast Wars and stuff like that. Otherwise, I think they just communicated via a screen on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Or touching their head, like, you know, talking through a Bluetooth earpiece.
I thought
in IDW, I think they maybe used holographic communication or something. They
use holograms at some point. Who knows? But it seems it just they're going for it. You know, I don't think there was any. If they wanted them to be a standalone Bumblebee movie, which it definitely well could have been, they should have left the other characters out. You know, give us some new ones or give us some minor ones that don't really influence much, but he's got to fight somebody, right?
I will admit it does feel a little forced after having what 10 years of the live action franchise where they were like, we don't need everything to look necessarily like G1. And then suddenly they're like, Bumblebee's a Volkswagen. Optimus Prime looks like his G1 self. Here's Shockwave with a gun arm. Look, Seeker's in the background. This guy looks like Starscream, but he's Blitzwing.
Yeah, but we do get straight up Seekers.
Yeah,
which one does the one closest to Shockwave does look a little bit like Starscream. He does have more red and white aspect.
There was a green cone head in the background, if I remember.
There is. I saw that. I don't know if that's going to be what's his name. He wasn't a cone head, but the one that was like
Storm wasn't a cone head.
Storm. No, he was just another Seeker, or was he a clone of Starscream? I don't remember.
Depends on which continuity.
Depends on continuity, yeah, of course. I think though that they just wanted to reach out. I think they didn't have enough stuff for the fans, and it had already been confirmed by Optibotimus that Starscream was going to be in the movie in some way, shape, or form. But I think if they're going remotely in continuity, I mean, if they want to retcon the appearance in the Cybertronian War, which was just kind of glossed over quite a lot, if they want to retcon that a little bit and make them look a little bit more like they should, okay. But it just I don't. To me, the aesthetic doesn't match. Like you got a movie aesthetic versus a G1 or cartoon aesthetic mixed together, and it makes no sense unless there's Cybertronian forms allow them to have like way more body coverage, not all gappy and tiny parts and stuff like that. So, I mean, like a lot of people were thinking,
could be their in-story reason is they had to have the tiny gappy parts because otherwise they can't make the forms they need for Earth. So it's sort of like getting surgery for that, effectively.
Well, that's what I was kind of getting at. Maybe there's a more simplistic form on Cybertron, so they don't have to have as many intricate pieces. But we do see one of the Seekers turns into a jet or something.
It looked like he turned into a Tetra pyramid jet thing.
A Tetra jet, yeah. It's on screen for
a bit of fan stuff.
Yeah. I'm just worried it's going to be a buttload of fan service and not enough substance, which is usually what a base sequel does. I mean, look at Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows.
Didn't actually watch it, so
it's been a bit
you did?
Watch that one, but yeah, that one did lean heavily on trying to. It's like, look, here's Bebop and Rocksteady. Look, here's Krang.
Yep, here's Krang. That was leaning entirely on the fandom, and it was kind of a subpar movie. So, I mean, I know he was just the executive producer on that one, just like he is on Bumblebee. You know, so he's not directing. He probably didn't write this, but his fingerprints are going to be all over it. But yeah. I think, like you were saying, if this is going to be set in the 80s and stuff like that, I think they're going to go with maybe a little bit more Spielberg-esque feel to it, like pretty much everything that's done, period, in the 80s right now.
We kind of define that time period,
yeah,
wise at least.
Part of me feels like if they're gonna do movies like this, they need to dull the quality down just a little bit, like make it a little less high def, a little less sharp.
Oh, add a little bit of more film grain and stuff like that.
Yeah, but just the more, it's the Uncanny Valley problem. Bumblebee actually looks really good in this. He does look like he's really fitting in and stuff like that. But if they're going to start including other things that are going to be full CG on full CG worlds, it really does look more like a video game, not like a real thing happening. Whereas I feel like the first Transformers, whenever they were showing the battles on Cybertron and stuff like that, that looked more realistic than this trailer did to me.
Yeah, I remember seeing somebody comment about like they felt the CG looked like early Xbox graphics or something.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. And I like, and it would actually make sense to some degree with that whole new War for Cybertron line, the Siege line, if that's what they were going for with this. Like it's like it should be like Bumblebee slash War for Cybertron. You know, like two separate things thrown together. As long as it's not 3 hours long, like the last night was, I guess it might be okay. But it's not even gonna be a summer movie; it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, because it's coming out this Christmas, right?
Yeah. It's like
hard to compete. There's a lot of good movies that come out around Christmas.
Yeah, that's usually Star Wars time, but there's no Star Wars movie this year, so we don't have to worry about it.
Fill the void.
Fill the fanboy void.
Well, because Solo came out in what, February? When it should have come out.
Watch that. I'm all sad.
Yeah, Solo was early. It was too close to the previous movie, so they should have actually put Solo in against Bumblebee. Might have actually been a bit better off, give you an actual option, because I don't know. I was still on the fence. I might go see it, but I'm gonna go for like matinee.
Fair enough.
But I don't know. You guys are more.
We can get a babysitter, so.
Yeah, we have some friends of ours that are also Transformer fans. So the last night we actually went and saw with them and had a babysitter that was prepared.
Actually, it was their kids babysitting our child.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
He's old enough. He's in 8th grade.
Yeah. So I almost wonder if that's what's going to happen this time around again.
But hopefully, here's hoping. So if this is set in the 80s and we know that it's loosely tied into at least what we've seen before, what are the odds we'd get a Hot Rod cameo, but actually in a decent form, not the form it got in the last night?
To say there was something about a new Hot Rod toy coming out for Studio Series, and one that wasn't necessarily connected to his form for last night or something.
I don't think we're going to get that lucky unless they change his personality. Because that's one of the things is the way Bumblebee acts now is a lot like how Hot Rod would act before he became Rodimus and got all gloomy and depressed. And they're going to, and I think they'd end up having to change his personality to make it work. It's either that or there's going to be jokes of, oh God, the two of them are together, which I could live with that. I could live with that.
Well, in theory, they would be using Rodimus or Hot Rod as he is from the last night, where he wasn't really the turbo-rodding young punk. His main attribute was he was French and had time bullets.
Yeah, but
actually, he wasn't even French. He was just speaking with a French accent because he thought it was funny. He wasn't actually French because remember he asked him, "Why does he talk like that?" And he said, "Because he thinks it's funny."
I think actually, like his voice got stuck at that, and he actually he doesn't care for it much, but he can't.
No, I think it was even Cogman who said it, because they're annoyed by the French accent, and like he said, basically he doesn't have to talk that way; he chooses to. Like, because he could choose a voice pattern or whatever, and he chose that because he thought it was funny. So he's basically just speaking French for no reason whatsoever. Now, when he was a French car, that made sense. But when he changed to a Lamborghini, it probably should have updated.
Start having him speak in Italian.
Yeah, why not? Because he was never actually speaking French. He was just speaking with a French accent. So that's why it's even worse.
Did you think about that? If he was going to do an accent as a joke, he was going to make sure he was good at it.
That's true. I don't know. I think that we got a long way to go. What my worry is that they're going to do what they've done with all the rest of these movies, and they're going to basically show us 3 more trailers that basically give away virtually all of the movie before you even go see it. Well, like, don't leave us with a little bit of
what they do with almost every trailer nowadays.
Well, yes and no, because Star Wars is kind of the king of making trailers that really don't let you know what's going on.
That's because they don't want to hear the complaints early.
Like
That's
how
true.
one had stuff that never even happened in the movie.
Actually, I kind of like that. They did a fake out.
Well, that was they changed stuff like halfway through.
They did a lot of rewrites, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. It's not necessarily fake out because they had to make the trailer so far in advance of when they finish the movie that they end up sometimes being in scenes that they think would be great eye grabbers, and then it's like, oh, wait, sorry, we actually decided not to do it, but it's too late because you already put the trailer out. Hocus Pocus is a really awesome example of this. There is, in one trailer, a scene where the Sanderson sisters are trying not to fall into a chlorinated pool the school has, and they're freaking out. One of them accidentally falls in, and then they realize it's not pure water because it's so much freaking chemicals in it, it won't melt them or anything. But they decided to take that whole scene out of the movie. And then everybody for years thought I was crazy, and then I eventually found a clip online that proved I was right.
I think I actually remember that because they're like trying not to fall in. And then
there's somebody else who believes me.
No, I think I actually remember that. I'm not a big fan of that movie, but I think I remember that in the trailer, to be honest. Let's see. All of the latest DC movies are victims of trailers showing one thing and then them going a different direction.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that's because like they.
Oh, I know.
Suicide Squad. They cut the trailer and it's like, we love the look of this, and they're like, that's great. We were totally doing that before. Make it like the trailer, not like what we did before.
But the fact that they reshot so much for Suicide Squad and edited out virtually 10 minutes of the Joker, that scene that we never even got to see. So that was terrible. But maybe this movie will go the other way. Maybe they'll just sparingly show us stuff, or maybe we just saw all we're going to see of those G1 Transformers.
The Joker minutes they cut out, I wish they hadn't, though, because now everybody's like, I want a relationship like Harley and Joker, and I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah, most people don't get it.
It's abusive. The one of the 10 minutes that they showed was him actually throwing her out of the helicopter because he was being a jerk. And
instead of her falling out of the helicopter as it explodes.
Yeah, he was like, hi, I'm going to kill you now. Bye.
Yeah. Or how he got all messed up and like burned and stuff like that. We totally missed that. Or when he's shooting the machine gun dressed in a tuxedo. I love that there's figures and stuff for that, for a scene that never existed.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen Suicide Squad, so I didn't realize how much it went.
Oh, yeah. Like most of what you see of the Joker in the trailer is not in the movie.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's bad. But like this, I don't know. I'm hung up on the fact that they are probably just using G1 to draw in the fans that had already given up, and they may abandon it entirely by like halfway through the movie. I bet we're still going to see two different movies here.
I'm holding out hope because sometimes they realize their mistake, and if they can get enough people interested, then they can go and say, okay, so we know where we were screwing up before and we can fix it. And I think I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. At the very least, I think it will at least be good as any other Transformer movie Michael Bay has done, which means it'll be a fun popcorn flick, if nothing else.
I stopped having fun after 3. It's like it was no longer fun after that. And I wanted to give hope for Age of Extinction because Dinobots, but then the Dinobots are in the movie for less than 5 minutes.
I was disappointed at how short the Dinobots were.
Yeah. Age of Extinction, I've said before, I feel it feels like it's supposed to have been 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
You have all this stuff with like the man-made Transformers and stuff like that, and then you have the stuff with Lockdown and the Dinobots, and that all feels like they had 1 movie, they had 2 movies, and then they decided to squish it together. And
that's why it was so long.
Yeah, and it was stupid long too. And if they had split it up, what would have been the second half of that movie or whatever, that second movie would have been the Dinobot movie, and everybody, you would have probably liked it more because they would have had more time to focus on them.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Dinobots getting done real dirty in the 5th movie.
Yeah.
Where they just get left to be junkyard dogs. Hey, we're going to go fight this incredibly powerful being that, is one of the creator gods. Maybe we should just leave behind our strongest warriors.
Yeah.
For no reason. We'll just leave them there. We don't need them. No. Especially versus that, giant 3-headed dragon. We substituted our already big fire-breathing dinosaur creature for another giant fire-breathing dinosaur creature.
Yeah, pretty much. I remember.
I think if they had done something that kind of showed the Dinobots being like, "Look, we hang around you because we think you're kind of cool, but we're not going to do what you say." Because if I remember correctly, in G1, there was a bit of that where Dinobot and them were just like, "No, we're Dinobots. You're Autobots. We hang with you because you're cool, but Me, Dinobot King. You know King of Dinobot.
Yeah, Grimlock.
Grimlock is awesome.
Oh, the Grimlock.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was whenever they created Dinobot Island, which carried over into animated and stuff like that. But yeah, maybe. But it's the fact that they were hiding out the only safe place they could, and in fact, they were no longer listening to Prime or anybody. They were listening to Cade.
Yeah.
Of all things, like they've got no reason to listen to him at all. Like maybe after the events of the movie, where he's proven to be whatever descendant of King Arthur or whatever, you know, where he can wield Excalibur for all of one scene and then it goes away forever. That would have made sense because he was technically a knight of Cybertron like they were. But oh hey, we're abandoning that idea because we're going to go with these other knights that nobody knows about.
I remember listening to the WTF at TFW podcast with their opinions on the last night, and one of the things they said is like, yeah, so they had that writers' room thing, and they got all these great ideas from all these different writers and stuff like that, and they decided like, okay, these are wonderful, we're doing all of them.
Yeah. It only had 5 plots and 2.5 MacGuffins.
Pretty much, yeah.
But I'm just worried that they're going to go way too many plots with this movie. I think the original idea of Bumblebee on Earth, hiding out, maybe locked his memories or whatever, and then he gets discovered, have to fight Decepticons for whatever reason to protect his new human ally. That was a perfectly fine movie. It's like E.T., but with a giant robot instead.
Yeah, kind of like what the first half of a live-action movie.
Yeah.
Movie.
So, but now we got to throw in the entire other plot line of, oh, hey, the Decepticons are actually trying to do this other thing, turn the American government against the one Autobot that apparently exists. They can't find a single Autobot. Why can't Cybertronians detect each other? That makes no sense.
Do we know if there are any MacGuffins in this?
Not yet. It seems like there has to be. There's got to be some MacGuffin. Because
that's how Transformers movies usually work.
Because Bumblebee, if we're going all the way back to the first movie, Bumblebee was sent there to look for the Allspark.
Yeah.
And they were having to do that via Sam. You know, because of the glasses, Witwickies, all that stuff. And then it just got more and more convoluted with more and more Transformers MacGuffins on Earth, including Unicron, which we're just, thank God they abandoned that real quick after ending 5, because that was just getting worse. But like
Transformers Prime made that work.
Prime made it work. But you know, that's where they got the idea from there, and they just made it worse. I want to have hope for this movie. I want it to be a good movie, but the repeated sour taste in my mouth from the previous Bay movies makes me doubt every little thing about it. And I don't want to be like that, but that's what it's done to me. Just kill the camera, Joan. It's okay.
I'm not killing the camera. The camera is built into my laptop.
Yeah. Just throw your Bumblebee mask at it. That's what you should have done. You should have had like all your Bumblebees down, like surrounding you.
I wanted to, but
that would take a lot of effort because there's quite a few of them.
There's like, I think 40 now. Maybe 50?
Probably more than that.
That's a lot of Bumblebees. See, but you need to get the new Bumblebee that I've got, the little bitty one. Because he's cool. So are we gonna hope that at least they're gonna do better with the Gundam live action movie?
Well, so far we know Michael Bay isn't anywhere near it.
So far. But the guys who did Pacific Rim are in charge of that, and a lot of people aren't happy with the previous Pacific Rim movie.
I never actually got to see that one. I saw the first one and enjoyed it. So
leave it like that. Just leave it at that.
Yeah, I've been told that if you think of Pacific Rim 2 as more super robot, while Pacific Rim 1 was real robot,
it's Power Rangers.
You see, I don't mind Power Rangers either,
but not in a good way.
Okay.
It's like the Power Rangers live action movie, but done with multiple Megazords.
You see, you keep on describing something that sounds awesome to me. So.
No, it's not awesome because that movie was not awesome.
Stop making it sound awesome, Shoki. Stop using your charming personality to make it sound awesome.
Just go watch my review of the new Power Rangers movie that Nick and I did. think was it me and Nick, or was it me and no? That was me and David. That's right.
Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, we did actually. We caught that on Blu-ray. Yeah, and
so bad. I'm glad that got canned. Not gonna lie. I know I'm not gonna have a lot of fans on that, but I'm glad that sequel got canned. It was going in the wrong direction. But either way.
For a sequel, yeah, I can see that. I could see it going with. I feel like there's a couple personalities and things that they could have switched around for the characters to make it work a little better.
Or maybe giving us a lot more Power Rangers and a lot less angsty teens.
That's the one thing that did bug me a little bit, was that there wasn't a whole lot of Power Ranger action in the Power Rangers movie.
20 minutes. Thereabouts.
It was kind of building up to it, so I didn't mind it as much.
Although it would
have been cool if they had made Billy just really smart and made somebody else be the autistic kid, personally.
No, like, they had to get all the things all at once. He had to be an autistic, smart black kid who dies. So
and they come back.
Yeah, but they had to like nail it all in a single character.
Yeah, but I think it would have been funny if like one of the girls was autistic, because that's an underdone group actually.
Yeah, but they had lesbian on that side, so they were okay. I'm not comparing the two. What I'm saying is that was the minority they went for in that one. They went for lesbian Asian sort of.
Yeah, though then all those scenes got left on the cutting room floor, if I remember correctly.
A few of them.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
There were some hints in the main movie.
Oh no, there was a lot of hints at her being lesbian.
Especially when it comes to mom and dad being mad that I wouldn't take a boyfriend.
Yeah. Well, one thing, because a lot of people were speculating that Tommy might actually be a girl. They're thinking that maybe it's like, imagine if they went that route and actually the new Green Ranger would still be female and she'd be a lesbian and then get with Trini instead of Kimberly, which would probably piss off a lot of people, honestly.
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of people weren't totally happy with how the stuff with Kimberly went down anyway in stores. So I don't know. Because she dumped him by letter.
In the originals.
Oh, yeah. That was all forced, though. That was forced on the fact of what happened with the show behind the scenes. Look what happened to Billy. Look what happened to David Yost on that.
Yeah.
Nobody had it worse than him because he was gay and everybody picked on him to the point he quit.
It's amazing that David Yost even wants anything to do with with Power Rangers in the fandom, but he still shows up at conventions.
Well, that's because he knows the fans weren't being the jerks. It was his coworkers.
Yeah, or the production crew. I think it was. I think it was more.
Production crew is from our coworkers.
Yeah, but I was just saying, not the cast members, so to speak. But yeah, no, the fact that he got done so dirty, they gave him a terrible voiceover over stock footage.
Yeah.
For his goodbye. And I caught that as a kid, and I didn't understand it. I didn't quite register that it wasn't even his voice. But it is what it is. I don't know. We're way off topic now, but it all ties into reboots of things we love that we want to see done well. Like we want the Bumblebee movie to succeed and actually give us good Transformers movies, but they needed to really distance themselves from Bay, I think, as much as they could have. But
I don't think there's any other director that's really willing to do Transformers movies right now, other than Bay.
Well, they got the person that's directing the Bumblebee movie is not Bay. He's just producing it, which basically means he's providing the money and some of the expertise.
But as people are fond of saying, the money doesn't care about accuracy. The money cares about getting as many views as possible, as news being spread.
Yeah.
So whatever the money wants versus what the director wants.
Yeah. And well, the main problem is that Hasbro gave Bay way too much freedom in the first go.
Yeah.
They gave somebody who knew nothing of Transformers complete freedom of their property.
Which I believe if he had been given freedom of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles first, given he tried to make them be aliens originally, I think they would have gone and said, okay, babe, you and I, we need to have talk.
Yeah. Basically, him just having no concept of what these properties were or what they were. He just wanted to do the movies and make the money and capitalize on all the people who grew up on the things.
To be fair, though, the first couple Transformer movies did actually rank in the dough. I mean,
they all did.
That's why they kept bringing him in, even though he kept saying, like, this is going to be my last one. And they're like, okay, here's 2 dump trucks filled with cash.
Yeah, that was all a lie anyways. He's like, no, I'm not going to do any more lies. He shouldn't have written them. Like, I think that's the key. And maybe that's what we'll see with Bumblebee. He didn't write it, hopefully. And if he did, if he stayed out of it and was just literally forking the money over to make it happen, then okay, I'll give it a fair shake.
Yeah, so this will be the first one where, I mean, Bay's just in the producer role, so he's distant enough that maybe we'll get to see what a live action Transformer movie looks like with minimal Bay interference. With minimal Bayness.
Well, look at it this way, because now we have a female lead. We'll probably see some sexy dudes shown off instead. Whereas Michael Bay,
equal opportunity cheesecake. Thank you.
Because you know, not going to show her off because she seems to be a very wholesome, down to earth girl, unlike most of the girls who are in Transformers, who are in usually slinky, sexy, whatever stuff.
Wasn't there one that was dating with Wiki that actually kept most of her clothes on most of the movie?
Well,
yeah, the young girl in 5.
No, I mean like the lady that was always wearing like the women's business suit.
Well, there was but her first major scene was her in like a negligee or something like that. So
was it?
Yeah, that was the one who the actress was a Victoria's Secret model that Bay had filmed like earlier.
No, I think she's talking about the.
I'm talking about the lady.
The agent.
Oh, the one that he kind of liked, but then there was some other rich dude that fancied her, and he was like, "Dude, I can provide what you can't."
Yeah, no, that was yeah. No, she was always in something sexy.
No, you're thinking of the
girl. Well, she's talking about the girlfriend from 3.
Yeah, but I mean, she wasn't like just slutty. She was dressed classy.
No, she was always very dressed down or curvy, or even when she had the quote unquote like pantsuit on, it was definitely a very form fitting, and I believe cleavage showing.
I think you're thinking of the woman from Last Night.
Okay.
No, she was also sexy all the time.
And there was also
I was paying attention.
I paid to the women.
And there was the girl that was the hacker in the first half of the 07 movie.
She was still an attractive blonde female. Maybe not overly sexualized, but not somebody who was underplayed.
And she wasn't as integral to the plot as she probably should have been.
Yeah, she disappeared real quick. Like she should have been a little bit more prominent in like the next sequels where they're working with the humans and everything like that. But either way. All right. Well, it's been fun, guys.
Very much so, yes.
But I have to wake up at 3 a.m. tomorrow, so I got to get to bed.
Okay, we'll catch you later, Shoki.
Yeah, of course. And guys, go check out the Rodimus13 channel because he's doing reviews and stuff like that. And of course, we've got a lot of work together. Some of his stuff will be featured in an upcoming event on this channel, which I just edited earlier today. I need to upload, but either way, I'll send you the link as soon as I get it uploaded because I want your opinion on the intro that I put together.
Sure thing.
Yep. Guys, like, subscribe, do all the things. Shoki shirts, Rodimus shirts. I'll have links to his t-shirt stores in the thing down below. And of course, thanks to
an awesome movie.
What?
Hold out hope for an awesome movie.
There you go. But guys, we'll catch you later. Just remember, as always, to keep on nerding.